to you, you're going to know by my power that I called you to do it. Can't wait till somebody get through and say, well, I can't do this because so-and-so ain't got saved. You know what the man told Jesus? Jesus said, look, let me tell you something. He said, let the dead bury the dead. He said, you have to do this. Your duty is to come and preach the coming of the kingdom of God to all the world. If God called you, you cannot wait to somebody else. That's why I say, I cannot wait till the church fill up before I sign to preach the gospel. Because, number one, preach it first, and then they hear, then they'll come. Because if they come first without the preaching of the gospel, what's going to happen? People are not hearing. I'm going to tell you something. People are not hearing the gospel now. They're hearing a lot of entertainment. They are hearing a lot of theatrical. They're hearing stuff that make their ear twitch and their mouth move. They're hearing things that make their body shake and their rump shake. But at the same time, they're not hearing the gospel. So, brother, when they get out of here, that's why they can go back and do the thing that they've been doing before, and that is living in sin. Because once the true gospel is preached, true gospel, but one thing about the true gospel, it's going to scare the living hell out of you. Because when you are sitting in the house of the Lord and God is preaching the true gospel to you, watch this, the true gospel send a warning to you. It'll scare you to death. I didn't get saved through love. I got saved through hellfire. I got saved through a hell message. Sure did. I didn't say because somebody said, well, come and join the church and the Lord love you and he gonna take care of you. No, they told me you'll get saved by next week, you can probably be in hell. And I was shaking like a leaf on a tree. Had my gold chain on, had my leather suit, had my leather pants on. Had back in the 90s, and 89, the 80s and 90s, they had what you call the most slow haircuts with the line in it. You know, slope to the side like that. Yeah, I had one of them. Boy, I look good too. About 18, 19 years old. At the same time, didn't know that God was calling me into ministry. I knew it all the time, but I ran from it. For the simple fact, I ran from it. For the simple fact is because, like I said, like many people, man, I don't want to do this. But Jesus told the man, he said, look, your only duty is, Jesus told the man, look, he said, this is what I want you to do. I don't want you to tell me about what you're going to do. You just do what I ask you to do. You go and preach the gospel to the lost. He said, go and preach the gospel to the lost, to all the world. And another said, yes, Lord, I will come, but first, let me ask permission of those at home. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me God told you to go preach? But you got to get permission from folks at home, in your household, to say, God want me to go preach the gospel. You automatically ought to know what they're going to tell you. No. They're going to say, you don't do it. They're going to say, don't go do it. They're going to say, ain't nothing to that stuff. Ain't nothing to that. Ain't nothing over there. But they're going to say, you got to hear the voice of the Lord. The day you hear my voice, the Bible said, harden not your heart. And the day you hear the voice of the Lord, many people miss out on the wonderful experience with the Lord because they harden their heart to the things of God. You cannot harden your heart to the things of God. He said, look, but Jesus went on and told him, anybody that is distracted from the work I planned for him is not fit for the kingdom of God. Any man that or any woman that put their hand to the gospel plow and God have called you to do something he told you to do, but you are distracted by people in the world, distracted by family, distracted by friends, distracted by this, distracted by this. I'm going to tell you something. You can really get distracted by Christians also. You can get distracted by Christians. You can get distracted by preachers. You can get distracted by folk who think that you got your best interest in mind, but they really are out to deceive you. So, brother, they'll come to you and say, look, oh man, are you really called to do that? Man, I don't really think. Because they're judging you from the outside, don't know what God put on the inside of you. So they're judging you according to what you went through in your past. So they don't understand that God's saying, I'm not looking at your past, I'm looking at your now. Because God did not speak to your experience, he speaks to your potential. Your potential is saying, I can get it done. But people are looking at you what you did. Oh, he done messed up, or she done messed up. Yeah. God can't use them. But God said, I can use them because I'm not looking at what they did. Because the first time, God said, if I look at everybody that have done wrong, it wouldn't be a preacher on the first of the earth.
Come on, you got to say that. Come on, you got to preach that.
If God looked at everybody that was here, it wouldn't be none of us in here right now. Because all of us have done Don't you know I'm already forgiven you? God said, I forgave you already before you even did it.
That's right.
But we don't tell people that. God said, I forgave you already before you did it. So the devil say, now look at you. You know God can't use you. You were doing good. But devil said, now you done really messed up now. Now I know God ain't gonna use you.